Hey, what's up, guys? Joker here. I thought about making a video talking about my experience so far in Eureka. This is about my experience here in 2022. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna make this video, but I call it 2021, but it's 2022 now, so I guess I gotta call it Eureka 2022. So, it's about almost one here, one central, and I'm looking at Eureka right now. There's like 27 in the starting area. It usually gets more and more uh, as it goes on through the day. I mean, usually the morning and nighttime, and then the weekends. It's usually throughout the day. You see a good amount of people. Each area has an instance of 144. There's 4 different Eureka areas. So unlike Baja, where I had 2, it's double. Also, the max level is 60 throughout the entire experience. But in each zone, you're capped. So in this starting area, Pagos, you're capped at 20. I mean, the starting area is Animos, it's 20. Pagos, it's 35. The next area is 50, and then the last one is 60. And it has the Baldessian Arsenal in that last area. That's basically like a Castrum Dolariata type thing, but like way harder because you can't res apparently in there. So that's great. It's 48 people, and it's like supposed to be really hard, but it gives you a mount. So what Eureka is, and I'll just switch over, is it's basically just a Baja. That's where you get your relic. This is the first area, Animos. I've already cleared it through. This is what it looks like. As a full complete map, I guess I'll just show. So it's like it has this melder thing that like gives you boosts and stuff like that. You find these different magicites throughout this first area that gives you 5. You just have to go do the story. And basically what it is Kryle's like gonna be here, and you have to go talk to her, and she'll give you some vague explanation. Basically what you do is just like you just go on a website or something like that. So here it is, like this guide I found on Reddit, and all you have to do is type in the way to Eureka 5.2. This is a little outdated in some areas, but the general, what this guy wrote down was pretty accurate, and this is a good thing to follow. Now he says something that I do have a problem with, and like also I'm gonna point out some other things, is staying in the first area until you're 25. He says it down here in the TLDR. That is not a good leveling strat. In Eureka, you get like a little buff type thing for each area. If you're below the max rate, that's a good thing. You get like a shit ton of XP. But if you're at 20, which is the cap in this area, in Animos, it's really bad and not a good thing to have. So I do recommend when you hit 20, unless there's like NMs you want to do and stuff like that, I would move on to the next area to get that buff back, because it is really, really solid and really, really good. Another thing he talks about is the Pazuzu feathers. This is the last step you need to get your Animos version in. I'll show it here. So I'm doing my Dark Knight one. Where is it? It's right here. This is Caldebug Animos. This is the last part in this zone. So what it is you have to get these feathers. You need these Pazuzu feathers. You can either get it through exchange for the protein crystals. You need 300 of these. Honestly, it's not that bad if you're spamming NMs, and that really happens a lot. Or right here, this is where the Pazuzu fate will spawn. You get a guaranteed 3. Now in the guide it says you need 6. Oh my god. Did not fucking resume. Oh. So what happens is you don't need 6. I did it with 3. And I have 3 in my inventory right now because I killed Pazuzu. But you for me at least it was 3. So I'm like, okay, I think they cut it in half or something like that, and it let me advance forward. Now I think another helpful resource that is used is right here. It's the first time I used Tumblr. It's to find these quest locations, and like I was talking about earlier, Cryo just kind of is like, she isn't direct about it, but where this is, she's like, oh, there's just something, north near some crap. where these flags are right where you need to go. They're accurate all the time. And for the next zone, you can do the same thing. You just look up, where the hell are the story locations? They'll tell you. I'll leave links down if you to those two sources. But generally, that Reddit one is really good. Um, but that Tumblr one, honestly, for Animos was the best one. That's why I brought it up as an example. So yeah, this is Animos. This is the first area. Also, what you need to do, challenge log, that really has not changed. You have to do this, and also be sure you're doing the right thing, because it is telling you more than 2 levels below here on this specific one, and then on the sprites it's level you're equal or higher. And these sprites are like, those little water warpy guys. They're completely different. It's they change with the weather. And also Ashkin is another one. Those are like the undead mummy guys. They're pretty obvious when you see them. They also it needs to be like nighttime in the area for them to appear. And then, another thing that people point out is trackers. When they say any trackers, it's like you gotta manually manage the NMs, because they won't spawn for another 30 minutes or so. And you need to also trigger them also by killing certain mobs and stuff like that. So for as an example, Pazuzu, you have to go near that area I showed, just like right in front of that cave entrance. They're like these dark spirits that are 25. You have to kill those, and it's that one specifically. It's like RNG. You have to kill a certain amount of them before something called Gales pops up, and that's why you need trackers. So when the Gale pops up, that will trigger Pazuzu if you killed enough spirits. It's really complicated. It's easier to defer to someone who actually knows what they're doing. But sometimes that won't be the case. But there are a ton of 60s. Like in that area specifically, that instance I was in, there were 60s. I don't know why they're there, but they're there. Because if you're 60, more likely than not, you're done with Eureka, unless you're like maybe farming out something else. And here, this is like a different instance from what I was just in like a couple of minutes ago. I can tell because the people are different. So there's like 5 people in here. This area is more dead, I will say, than Animos. I think Animos is more active because it's the first area. But when you hit 20, I recommend going in here and probably killing things that are 2 levels higher than you if you're a tank. If you're a healer or DPS, I mean, maybe stay closer to the same level, but at least generally for me as a paladin tank, go at stuff that's 2 or 3 levels ahead of you. And also make sure your board is right. So like just quickly go and set it to offensive or defensive, whatever you prefer to have. I prefer offensive, even though many people say for tanks to go 2-5 and have 2 on offense, 5 defense, and it's literally swapped for everyone, for DPS at the very least. Now for this area, it's to trigger the story, it's gonna be 21, 23, 25, and then it's gonna get, I think 31 and then 35. So you can't trigger Aethernites, that's also a thing, until you're a certain level. In Pagos, it's 21 in order to get this one, 23 I think for that one, and then a way later level. And you'll know this because the mobs around these areas are very higher level than you. So to get this one, 21. But yeah, I mean, generally that's the thing. And like to get the first Aethernight, I think in the first zone, I might be wrong about it, but I think it's 5 or 7, something like that. You'll figure it out, because it's the first area is really not that complicated. You can run around, and I really never came close to dying. In fact, I died for the first time in Eureka in Pagos because I fell off a cliff. And that's also the thing about Pagos. There's a lot of falling down. That's why this one is hated the most. But yeah, I mean, generally it's like, from my experience, let me just say, this is just so, let me just bring it to the 1. This is like just a really boring experience, and like I don't know why it was generally made to get the relic. It is definitely the precursor to Baja. I remember hating Baja, thinking Baja was really boring. This is way worse. This is horrible. And this is nerfed. Apparently, I found like a Reddit thread back in the beginning of Stormblood and stuff like that. People are talking about to upgrade your weapon for the first time in Animos. It took 5,050 crystals. It is way less than that. The overall crystals you need is 400, 800. Yeah, 400, 800. No, 100, 400, 800. So it is way less. Um, those crystals are really easy to get, especially if you just anytime an NM pops up, just go at it. NMs are just fates. Just wait for people to say, anyone here it popped, because people aren't checking their map all the time. It doesn't give you a message that there's a thing. Kind of like it's unlike Baja. Baja would always alert you when, basically a fate came and popped up, even though they don't call it fates. Also Baja would have the where it would be like, oh, that you need to deploy and you need to go into this instance. They don't have that here. It's just basically all fates. Now in Animos, there are two fates that always pop up. It's the bunny rabbit one that's 20, and then there's like a 31 that's like directly above it. The bunny one gives you like 30k XP, and then you have to go find a chest. It's like you get this key item, a carrot, just feed it to a rabbit that's next to you, and it'll point you out. But like sometimes you can go into an area that's like way higher than you. Like the last one I just got, they're like level 30 ads I had to go through, and that's just weird. But the NMs here in Animos, Pagos, they give you like one gave me like 250,000, and I was below level. It was like a level 25 one, so you get a ton from these NMs, and you gotta make sure to do the NMs. It is a big thing that you do those. You can't just sit around pulling mobs. Getting someone together, getting somebody and doing it is way easier. I did that in Animos all the time. Now I'm just single queuing it because like there's not a lot of people in Pagos that are my level, and like I said, 2 or 3 levels ahead, I'm getting 10k XP every time. It will go pretty easily, especially with the NMs. Hold on, I have to make sure these guys aren't pulling something because they were talking about it, but like yeah, they're not. Generally, I think this experience is so boring. For me, the only reason I'm doing this is for that sick elemental armor. It's not the best reason in the world. It's kind of a stupid reason just for glamour. But I want that armor, and I don't get that until the end. You don't get that until the level 60 final area. One of the last things you get, like your relic weapon. Now, some of the good things is when you're doing NMs, these loot boxes drop just like in Baja. They give you crap, but there's some rare stuff. Like in the first zone, you'll get a mount. The third zone, their loot box drops a mount. Minions will drop too. Some cards will drop off NMs. So there's that too. There's like the stuff to do type thing. If you're a collector, I got 2 of the Tyrannosaur mounts. So in about 1,000 chests. So it's not really that. In 1,000 might seem like a lot, but you get like 30 each time you do an NM. So it's really not that bad, especially when you have to spam them for XP. Generally what I've seen is the knight has the most amount of people, the most like dedicated and the most knowledgeable people are playing around 7 p.m. Eastern. Over the weekend though, I saw morning, afternoon, through the night, so weekends consistently there will be a ton of people. Generally during weekdays, I see weirdly in the morning there's a lot of people here, and then at night obviously, but with queues like starting to pop back up to being like really long, it's just a thing where I can't even play in the night because it's like I'm not staying here the entire day, dude. I got other things to do, and it's like I'm not playing a game the entire day. But yeah, it's like just a general consensus of obviously more people play at night, but like weirdly for some reason a lot of people play in the morning. And then there's this weird spell between 2 and 4 I've noticed that is really dead, especially if you're doing roulettes. That's how you really tell if something the game is dead, is when you're doing roulettes and the queues are taking a really long time. It's like that 2 to 4 range. And that's central. But yeah, Eureka, really boring. I'm really glad, and I've seen videos where people were complaining about Baja being too easy. No, I do not want Eureka. The next relic, it better be more like Baja. Maybe just keep it where Baja is. Keep it where Baja is, because that is the perfect amount of thing. You need to get casuals involved. They need to feel like they're accomplishing something. That's how you get your game to keep on growing. You can't just dedicate yourself to the 5-10% range that are doing savages, ultimates, and all this grindy content. Nobody, that percentage you can care about in those hard grindy areas that are already in the game. But for getting a relic, which is something cool that a lot of people want, generally when you're playing a game, you want the best weapon, you want the best armor, kind of make it less grindy like Baja. I feel like I've gotten a better appreciation for Baja after doing my A tier Lux, after doing freaking Eureka for like 4 days. I can already understand Baja is a way better experience. And Baja needs to be the experience going forward if they want. Or you can go back and do a thing where you don't have an instance and you do A tier Lux. A tier Lux where it is right now is okay. It's okay. It's not the best thing in the world. Where it was in Heavensward, I don't want that. That's even worse. And it's a pain in the ass now. It took me like 3 weeks of capping every single time just to get my freaking A tier Lux, which was supposed to be actually, like, I was saying, oh, doo-doo, it'll be 2 weeks, don't worry about it. No, it was 3 freaking weeks because I had horrible RNG. But yeah, that's basically been my experience in Eureka. I mean, to be honest, the best word that describes it is hell. Pagos, from what I've seen, worst zone. I get it because there are these. Oh, I just want to point this out. There are these dragons and Pagos. You have to. Let me just show you on the PS5. So what you have to do is you can't walk regularly like this because it will be alerted and it will literally one hit you because it's level 40. These dragons are all over the place. You have to, if you're on PS5 or PS4, hold circle and then move, and that will start you moving like that. The thing is, they're these dragons, like right here. This is an important area. This is important for getting your relic in steps done in this part right here, because you have to get the kettle and stuff like that, and you have to go here. There's a dragon there, and there's, you know, you will fall down there. When you're fighting, when you're going the dragon, you can't just go like this and hold circle. It won't work. This will trigger it. Your mount will trigger it. If you have your tank stance on, it will trigger it. You have to hold circle, then move. I think it's like tab or something on PC. I'm talking. I use a controller. I play on PlayStation. So that is a pro tip when you're in Pacos. Do not go near a dragon because it will one-shot you. And if you're in a dead time, there's also a good chance there might not be a healer or someone to res. The best res option, honestly, in Eureka is going to be a red mage, because that is generally a good call to play DPS, and then also you can res. You'll see a ton of summoners too. But yeah, that's my description of Eureka, and Eureka in 2022 as it is for the first 2 zones at least. Yeah, I'm gonna call it there. So yeah, leave a like and subscribe. Really helps out the channel. You know, if you liked it and you thought it was helpful, leave a comment if you're stuck on something. Maybe someone can help out. Maybe I can help out. Maybe Google can help out. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna also leave a link in the description, those 2 things I put out. But yeah, take care and see you later.